Welcome to your guys' mid-season report of the Minnesota State Mavericks Dynasty. And as you can tell, going into week 8 of the season, we are 5-1 and ranked number 24. And our next game will be against San Diego State, which will be in the next video. But with that being said, let's go over just a few things that maybe happened during the season. Top 25 obviously has a lot going on right now. As we can say, 1 through 10 is LSU, Virginia Tech, Iowa, Texas, and Kansas State. Michigan State, Stanford, Miami, Florida, and USF. Even though USF only dropped 2 spots with their loss to Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's a good team, though. We're not gonna dismiss Cincinnati. 11 through 20 is Auburn, Oklahoma, South Carolina, TCU, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Houston, UNLV, who is now they're in our conference too. I don't know if we play them later on in the year, but I do think that I think we do. But we also play San Diego State today too. Virginia's in there, and Penn State is dropping like a rock right now. And 21 through 25 is Tennessee, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota State, and Nebraska. And we got other receiving votes going to Michigan, Southern Miss, NC State, Georgia, and Ohio State. San Diego State dropped like a rock after they lost last week. Our conference standings so far in the season are looking like this. We have MSU at 2 and Utah State at 2-0 in the conference. We have Boise State at 1-0. They took their win last week. Air Force, Boise State might be up there too in the top 25 soon enough. Just looking at their team, they have a really good team, and they've only lost by 3 to UConn. They could be ranked if they didn't lose to UConn. They do have a pretty favorable schedule up ahead too, so they could make some noise in the Mountain West and kind of give us some trouble, if you will. Air Force is 1-1, New Mexico is 1-2, and Wyoming and Colorado State still looking for their first conference win. And then we got the Mountain West in the western side. We have San Diego State and UNLV, both 2-0 in the conference. Hawaii is still 1-0. Fresno State 1-1. San Jose State and Nevada are still winless in the conference. San Diego State lost to Western Kentucky on the road by 20. That's a pretty brutal defeat if you ask me. So that's a good reason why they probably dropped like a rock in the standings. But UNLV, we do play them later on this year, and they've had a pretty good season so far. So we cannot overlook these guys, these two teams right here, because they could come up and sneak up on us. We do have quite a few Western Conference. We've played a lot of teams from the Mountain West this year. We haven't played many teams from the East. The only teams we're going to be playing from the East, it looks like, we have Colorado State, Air Force, and then we have Hawaii's on the other side of New Mexico. So we're playing a very good mixture here of teams in the Mountain West. So that's our conference standings. That's our conference outlook so far. Heisman watch. Brett Brown's not anywhere. Oh, he's back in the conversation. He wasn't in it last week, but he's really kind of come up now. 15 for 24 last week, and he had 4 total touchdowns. John Holcomb, the senior quarterback, could probably take over those reins. Brett Brown still only an 88 overall. I don't know if he'll get up there and get some more attributes towards his resume, but he certainly has looked really good so far this year. Our stats on the season, we're going to take a look at those. Brett Brown is 124 for 179 for 1,631 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Through 6 games, he hasn't been throwing too many touchdown passes, but he has been effective. 69% completion percentage. I think that's the highest of his career so far to this point. It is actually 69.3% completion percentage. He's looking really solid. He's not going to get that touchdown total like we had hoped like last year. It's going to be really hard to top 53 touchdown passes like at all. But he has been really effective this year. Yardage may be down, but his completion percentage is up. He's also taking less attempts too. That could be another reason why. He has been taking quite a few sacks this year too. We got to kind of minimize those. We're on pace to be on the lowest point. We're on pace to have the lowest total yet, but we have been taking quite a few sacks over the past few games. Manny Freeman has been running the ball exceptionally well over the past few games. 533 or 553 total yards so far on the season. He's on pace to be over 1,000. Brett Brown's just about 120 yards behind him. Wozliak and Scooter have been contributing, I should say. They've been contributing. The passing game, Jacob Jackson, looking like he could reach over 1,000 yards receiving if he puts in the time and the effort. He has to have like a couple of big games and he could get there. Same with Dylan. Sanders and Griffin have been key contributors in the receiving game as well. Manny Freeman and Joe Cooper have been as well, although they haven't found the end zone yet. Bravo, Mr. Scooter, has found the end zone. A lot of our receiving core, except for Sanders, Cooper, and Freeman, have found the end zone in the air. Our offensive line has been doing, I guess, okay, but we could do better. Total tackles. Gilmore leads the way with 24 total tackles. Lockwood right behind him at 23. And then Gilmore with 21. And Hayden and Lewis all have 20-plus tackles. Tackles for loss belongs to Roderick Riley and Jackson Lockwood at 8 apiece. Sacks belongs to Roderick Riley by a pretty good margin. He doubles more than the next guy. We haven't been getting to the quarterback as much as we would like to this year. But we do have some good freshmen in the works here. Kevin Landry, a redshirt freshman coming off his redshirt season. He's been really stepping up, making a couple of key sacks. Gary Gilmore, senior linebacker, he's been doing all right for himself. Interceptions. Robert Gilmore has come out of the woodworks, it looks like, a little bit, and he's been really taking the ball away. Pete Bowser, redshirt freshman, also contributing to the interceptions. Gilmore, Bolden, and Robbie Hayden have been doing their part as well. Hayden has been probably our best defensive player over the past few seasons, and we look for him to continue to do damage. Our kicking totals. Not the strongest year from Marcus Schroeder. 8 of 10 field goals. He made a 55-yard field goal, but he's missed a couple of bad ones. And I don't know if one of them was inside 40 yards. That was atrocious. That one he shanked inside the that was like a 38-yard field goal. But we could do better than that. Ryan Lopez, 12 punts, averaging 43 yards per punt. That's pretty solid. Dickerson has been really doing well on kickoffs. Kind of surprising for me, at least to say. You know, he's only a junior. He could be, a big factor. He actually has been a big factor in the special teams. And even on punt returns, he's averaging over 15 yards a return. That's really solid. And with that being said, Brett Brown is third in the NCAA in passing yards. Freeman is 45th in the NCAA in rushing totals. Obviously, we're not going to get like the #1 rushing back in college football. But as long as we have an effective run game, I think we're fine. Jacob Jackson is in the top 25 in receiving yards. Really solid, if you ask me. He's been fantastic this year. Tackle leaders, Gilmore is up, tied for 5th, if you will, or tied for 3rd, with like a bunch of other players. Sack leaders, Roderick Riley's 3rd in the NCAA in sacks. Interception leaders, Gilmore's tied for 2nd with interceptions. It says 13th, but there's really, you see all those 4s are technically tied for 2nd. And kicking leaders, Marcus Schroeder's got to be in the top 5 after that 55-yard field goal. He's got to be. He's number 3. We're actually technically 2nd. And then White and Walker are tied for 1st. And we're tied with 2nd with Jansen from Ohio State. So a really solid year so far. Obviously, we don't have any national championship aspirations. We lost to Kentucky. I think that's pretty much out of the conversation for this year as far as the national championship. And we've had a couple of nail-biters this year, too, with North Carolina and Oklahoma State. And even Nevada giving us a run for their money for most of the game. But we've come pretty handy. Rest of our schedule. Let's take a look at the rest of our schedule. Got to find it real quick first. Let's go to ESPN, and I think we have San Diego State. Yeah, we're 5-1, 22 in BCS polls. We have San Diego State this week, or in this next game, and then we have Colorado State at home, and then we have Air Force, who's a pretty good team to play against, and then same with Hawaii. They've been pretty good. New Mexico, hit or miss. They're more miss than they are hit. And then UNLV is obviously one of the top teams in the country. So we have a couple of games that, like San Diego State and San Diego State and UNLV are going to be really tough. New Mexico will probably be a good, easy one. Nevada, not Nevada, we beat Nevada. Colorado State will be pretty easy as well, hopefully. Air Force will be pretty tough, and Hawaii will be pretty tough as well. We've had a lot of high-scoring affairs. More than I would like to admit. But since we've entered conference play, it's been a little bit more tame. Only giving up 24 and 28 in conference play, so not terrible defense in conference play. Definitely an improvement. Just wish that the North Carolina game would have went a lot better. Same with the Kentucky game. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So I will. Well, we have a tough schedule up ahead. No game's ever really easy in this dynasty, as you can already tell. So that's our year mid-season report for the Minnesota State Mavericks Dynasty. And we'll get ready for this next game against San Diego State. It's going to be a tough one next week, but we got a tough road ahead. But we'll find a way. We are only one win away from bowl eligibility, so that gives us hope that we can make some noise in the Mountain West. And we don't even get to face Boise State this year either. That's kind of another funny thing about it too. But until the next video, I will see you guys next time. Peace out.